For the first time ever, Sammy the Bull Gravano tells his story. This is our thing. Directed by James Carroll.
You know, I talk about, or we talk about, all of us, as the commission. And we look at the commission as 5 families. And that's it. And really, that's not it. From my understanding, and this goes back a little bit before my time, but when Cosa Nostra started, came to the United States, and they formed a commission, and they formed different families. I believe there was 21 families in the United States that had a voice in the commission, a voice in the entire thing. There was a meeting upstate New York. It was a famous meeting. A state trooper saw all these cars and put it together. And I don't know how many bosses from how many states all over the country were there in that meeting. There's a whole thing about it. I'll put it out, and I'm going to do things about the history of the Mafia. I'll put it out, the exact people and time and dates. I won't put it out right now. I remember a time when it was down to, from 21 states, Mafia families, it was down to about 14. And it's still a little bit before my time. Then I remember when it was the whole 5 families in New York. Angelo Bruno in Philadelphia had a commission seat. Buffalo, I believe, at one point had a commission seat. There was people, Florida. So there was other families, even in my time, that was above the 5 families. They had, a lot of them would send their vote in through somebody. Angelo Bruno from Philadelphia, that mob, would send his vote in with Carlo Gambino. So that family was close. They try to break those things away so that one guy wouldn't have a relationship with too many people on the outside. Now his vote wasn't 1, his vote would be 4. 3 of those families loved Carlo Gambino, so they were all voting with it, whatever he thinks he could vote for us. So they started to get rid of that, and it's dwindled down to 6. When Angelo Bruno died, that was the end of his seat. His seat died too. So it remained the 5 families. I am not sure, I don't think the Chicago family ever had a commission seat. I'm not sure. I mean, you got to be an historian to look at some of that stuff, because they didn't even call themselves a family. They called themselves the outfit. They called themselves the outfit, which is a little weird. They had a powerful crew, family, whatever you want to call it, and a lot of it disintegrated. There was actually, from what I understand, a family in Texas that just completely disappeared. In other words, they stopped answering to anybody. They became very small. They didn't make new members, smaller and smaller. And they just disappeared. They didn't have no contact with anybody anymore. So that family didn't even count anymore. So a lot of families just fell off the map in a lot of these smaller states, smaller families. I remember me and John met the boss, and I believe the boss and underboss of the family in Louisiana. And we met him in a restaurant in Manhattan, and we were talking with them. And John asked them, how many members are left in your family? About 6 or 7. 6 or 7 people are in your family, that's it? That's it. And that's including me, my underboss, and a captain. So you have 3 made guys, actually. under that one captain, and then you're the boss and he's the underboss. Yeah. So, and they had no intentions of making new guys. So that was going to deteriorate. Why did that happen and what happened? When they came from Italy, they were all made, from Italy. They were full Italian, their father, their mother, everything. And a lot of them were right off the boat. And then there was the firstborn. And your father and mother both had to be Italian. Years later, the firstborns, like me, they married women who were not Italian. Jewish, Irish, German, whatever. They weren't Italians like me. They married, different women, Jewish, Irish, German. And after a while, they couldn't make their kids because you had to be Italian on both ends. So after a while, they made a ruling, the commission, that you have to be Italian on your father's end, not your mother's. You are what your father is. You carry his name. So those kids we could accept. So, but it was a mistake because nobody could tell you that you don't carry a little bit of what your mother is. No one could tell you that. She's actually with you as a kid growing up more than your father. So their thinking became different. In my case, my mother and father were both Italian. But after a while, like I said, the firstborn started, John Gotti. He was married to a girl, I believe she was a Russian Jew. So John Gotti Jr. is not full Italian. But they changed the law and it was okay. I think that changed the Mafia a lot. The outfit in Chicago and the Mafia had strong ties with judges, prosecutors, police, politicians. There was a very, very strong push on, with all the unions that we controlled in the country, all the families that we controlled, everything, to get Kennedy elected as the president. Why? His father was a bootlegger. His father was with the Mafia. He was an associate, but he was with the Mafia. He reached out to the Mafia for help to get his son elected as the president, and he made deals on what to do, what he would do. All of the Mafia, all of the unions, Hollywood, everybody put this massive push on to make him the president of the United States. And he became the president of the United States. There are so many situations about him. He wasn't a bad guy as far as the Mafia was concerned. They liked him. They trusted him. They liked him. He loved women. They were feeding him women. Marilyn Monroe, this one, Hollywood was bringing women in left and right for him. He was happy as a pig in shit. And Chicago had, Sam Giancana and them had tremendously powerful relationship. Sam Giancana was going out with this woman, Judith, I don't remember her last name. And that was his girl, his gumara. He sent her to Kennedy with stuff. Only God knows what was in the stuff. There's history about that. She started having an affair with not only Sam Giancana, but with Kennedy himself. She was banging both of them. They both knew it. Didn't bother them. And stuff would come from him to Sam Giancana and the outfit. Again, I have no knowledge what it was, but there's background investigations and FBI, and this knew that this whole thing was happening. I don't think anybody knows what was in those things, but there was powerful connections that the Mafia had in Vegas, Hollywood, you name it. Sinatra, the Rat Pack, the whole thing. Part of the Rat Pack was Peter Lawford. He's actually related to the Kennedys. So it was a massive thing with them. What destroyed that whole thing is Bobby Kennedy hated the fact that the father went to the Mafia, and that's how they got elected. So he wanted to show he had nothing to do with it. He became the Attorney General, and he went after every mafioso. In all the big states, in all the big cities, he just went after everybody and destroyed the entire relationship. They got on the father, from what I understand, real serious. You made a deal. He said, I'll take care of it. It's my son, Bobby. It's not him. I'll take care of it. He got sick or stroke or whatever he had, never got to it. The problems never stopped. There's so many people, the boss of Florida, Masala from Louisiana. There's so many bosses and people. They went after Jimmy Hoffa with the union. He had a hearts for him. I mean, this Bobby Kennedy ruined so many different things, and including his own entire family. I think he created so many enemies for his family. I'm not sure. There's rumors that the Mafia has something to do with it. There's all kinds of rumors about his brother being killed. I know there's an old Italian saying, with the fish, you cut off the head and the tail dies. I heard that in a meeting. It's an old Sicilian saying. Maybe that's what they did with Kennedy. I don't know. So I know they protected the Kennedy. From what I was told, they actually killed Marilyn Monroe. The first time I heard that is with Tato. I was young and I adored Marilyn Monroe. I loved her. I mean, I think every kid, boy, loved her. When he told me that, I said, what? We killed Marilyn Monroe? Why would we do something like that? They hooked up and he had an affair with her. They were terrified, she was a junkie, that she was going to blow the president out of the position. He would get caught, thrown out of being the president. They were terrified of this relationship. And Tato had told me when she sang that song, Happy Birthday, Mr. President, she was finished. Decisions were made, she's got to go. That was right out in public. There's so much controversy, so many things that Chicago, not only the Mafia, but Chicago was entangled with so many different things like that. That's Al Capone. That's what made that Chicago very famous and people have such an interest in. When he went there, he fought the Irish. The Irish were more controlled and the Italians much more powerful. And he went to war with them. So, and he was half nuts. So anyway, while Gaidi's on the cover of Newsweek and news media, herds of them are following his every move, I'm back in Brooklyn or in Staten Island, and I have agents, these guys, Frank and Matty. We called them the twins. You saw one, you always saw the other one. And they were assigned to me. They're up my behind 24/7. Decent guys, but every time I turn around, I spotted them or another car. I have to live a life. I go out in jeans, pair of sneakers, the kids in the neighborhood, kids playing handball. I go play handball with them. I go to job sites with construction boots and jeans, sweatshirt, a board where you check things on the job. I have a trailer on one job. So I get up in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm going out. I got my driver bodyguard who takes me from my house to a gym. I go to a gym, I work out, I meet people there, they know I'm there. Sometimes they're scheduled meetings, sometimes guys just know I'm there, so they pop up from different families. From there, I go to a Greek diner where I have another meet or two and see who's following me, where I'm going. And then I go to my office on Stewart Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. And I'm dressed in construction clothes so that if and when there's a case and they show my pictures, the jury will say, it looks like a working guy to me. That's what you're supposed to do. And I do go to work. I go to jobs. I don't physically bang nails in or I work with my hands. I'm a boss of a construction company. I go meet foremans. I get on with the engineers on the elevator that shoots up 14 stories, and I'll go up there like I'm looking at the job, and I will have a meet on that job, a meeting. I do everything to avoid law enforcement and news media. That, in my understanding, is Cosa Nostra. And I think that is Cosa Nostra. Any of the old mafiosos would never do that. Be flamboyant and do that shit. So that's what I did. And then I would come back in. I had in my basement, I had a shower, I'd take a shower, I had to change the clothes. I would change my clothes, nothing fancy still, but a pair of slacks, Italian knit. I would get in the car with Big Louie or whoever was coming with me, and we would go down New York to Mulberry Street to see John Gotti in the club. I couldn't get away from that news media and FBI because I just had a report. I had to go in there. What those meetings were about, what's going on in other families, stuff like that. I did that nonstop. And if there was work to be done, I was doing work. I mean, I could explain a few hits that took place that I'm not even supposed to be on the street with a pistol anymore. I did that. I grew up. I made my bones. I became maid. I became a captain. It's supposed to stop. I became the gunzier. You never see a gunzier on the street. I became the underboss. Personally, I don't know. I've never seen an underboss on the street with a gun. That's over. But I was. And not because I wanted to be there, but because I was told to be there. I was the guy that people had to worry about. If you came looking for John, if you wanted to hurt John, people knew. Be careful with Sammy, bro. And even if he's not there and we do it, we have to be careful that he'll come back. So I'm not a bodyguard, but in a way, I'm his protector. Another example of I'm put on the street again. John tells me that we're going to a funeral. And we go to this funeral. This old man from Italy. It's made in Italy. And I believe he's a made guy in the United States. He's under Johnny Gambino. And he was killed in his apartment house where he lives in a fight with his neighbor, another Italian guy, and his sons. So we go to the funeral, and it's old Italian style. They're all old people and stuff, crying at the funeral, the whole 9 yards. So John calls me over at the funeral. And we sit with Johnny Gambino, who's a captain. He's a zip, greaseball, whatever you want to call him. And he tells us what happened and who killed him and what, the whole 9 yards. We hear the story, and John turns to me and says, Sammy, take over this hit. We're going to take this guy out. Who killed this guy? He was a friend of ours. Okay. I'm going to put a couple of guys on the hit, and you go on it and control it. Make sure it gets done. Okay. He's going to take this guy from Jersey, Bobby Kaburk. He's a made guy already, and he's considering to make him a captain. He doesn't know him all that well, and he wants me to tell him how he conducts himself on the hit. There's a few other guys on the hit. I don't remember all of their names, but it's really not all that important. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us, I think, on the hit. And they're going to take me to this neighborhood. It's outside Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. It's in another area. I'm not familiar with this area, but I'm in a car and I go out there. And they show me around. They show me the building where the guy was killed, and the guy who killed him is in that building. They know the car, they know his license plate, and his sons own more like a beauty parlor, hair cutting place or whatever it is on this major avenue. So I look at the building, I look at the neighborhood, and I go and I get out of the car. Don't follow me. I've never been here, so nobody will just know me or recognize me. So I want to pass by this haircutting place. They park the car, I get out, and I walk. I walk and I walk past it nice and slow. I'm stopping at different stores and looking in the windows like I'm shopping or something. And I get to their store and I go slow and I stop and I turn and I look in the window. Sure enough, there's 1 or 2 people in the place sitting at, looks like barber chairs or whatever it is. Somebody's in the back, they're washing their hair. There's the guy, that's probably his son. I walk and I pass it and I get in the car and I leave. At night, I'm told, right in front of this building, there's a whole spot there where there's no parking zone during the day. You could park there at night, but not during the day. So they told me he parks his car there. So, he gets up early in the morning and moves it so he don't get a ticket. We pass by. Next day, I see the car. There's the same car. There's the plate. It's his car. It's very early in the morning. Okay, he does this every day. Yes. I passed the kids another couple of times. I have their pictures now. I don't see both of them, but one of them is clearly his son. I set it up. The next day, we're going to do the hit. Now we need separate cars. I'm going to be in one car. I'm going to call the shots with a walkie-talkie. I'm going to have a gun. going to be a backup driver, backup shooter. There's going to be a guy with me driving. He's going to have a gun. He's also going to be a backup shooter. Bobby's going to be in a passenger seat. There's going to be a guy driving him, and there's going to be a guy sitting in the back. Everybody's loaded up. Bobby, I want you to be the hit guy. Everything is ready. Big Louie is pissed off. Louie tells me, Sammy, for crying out loud, you ain't even supposed to be on the fucking streets. It's Johnny Gambino's crew. If something was done, he's got guys with him. Why don't they just do the fucking hit? Why do you got to go on every fucking hit? Believe me, bro, I don't like it. I don't like it. But he's the boss, and he's ordering me to go. It's not my position to argue. I told him once or twice I don't want to be on somebody's hits. But it's not my position to argue. He's the boss. He tells me to go, I go. So that next morning, we're there. Early in the morning. It's still dark out. We're parked in positions. We got the walkie-talkie going. Sit tight. A little while, it's going to become daytime. It's going to become time. People are going to be coming out of these buildings and going to work. Sit there and chill. Relax. The break of dawn, it's starting to get light. People are coming out of buildings. I hear the walkie-talkie. There's people coming out of the buildings. I see them. They're going to work. Don't make eye contact with them. Sit and relax. They're supposed to go to work. They're not involved. Leave it alone and don't make contact. Don't look at them. Don't stare. A couple of minutes goes by, more than a couple of minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and the walkie-talkie goes off again. Sammy, there's a police car coming real slow, not too far behind you. I slide down in my seat a little bit. I'm in the passenger seat. I twist my head a little bit. It's a patrol car. He's cruising the neighborhood. I get on the microphone. He's cruising the neighborhood. He don't know what the fuck is going on. Relax. And don't make eye contact with them. Period. He's just gonna pass. If there's a challenge and something happens, game on. Otherwise, mind your fucking business and let him just cruise on by. He passes me, gets to them, passes them. They're chatting, talking, bullshitting in the car, going very slow, and just cruising, and they're gone. More people are coming out of the houses. It's getting lighter. On the angle I'm sitting, I could see the front door, and I could see in that front door, the hallway, a little ways in, 4 or 5 feet. I see him. I see the guy who it's supposed to be. I saw his pictures. I saw him once. I'm on the walkie-talkie. It looks like him coming out. Don't overreact. You know him. Bobby, you start getting out of the car now. Open your door. He's coming to the front door. Step out of the car. He's opening the door and coming out. Do we confirm it's him? Yes. Bobby, move.
Our Thing with Sammy the Bull Gravano is produced by Deborah's Way Productions. Audio and photography provided by Richard Miller. Associate producer, Kenna Zaza Gabor. Thank you for listening to Our Thing with Sammy the Bull Gravano. It helps when you rate, subscribe, and review the podcast you enjoy. Thank you for your support.